Hello and welcome to Come With Us, a podcast to meet all your fantasy needs. I'm Sussy Nunez.
And I'm Rachey Kelly, and each week we're here to dive into the tempting world of books, seductive romance, and a sprinkle of spice.
Welcome to episode 33. Can you believe that we have 33 episodes in a year of a podcast?
Yeah, we're episode 33, and we've got something special for you. We call it a working title, Chisme Corner. You say it better, Susie. You say it.
La Esquina del Chisme.
La Esquina de Chisme.
You see she's a Latina already.
We've got some book talk drama that kind of also coincides with life in general for women.
In this La Esquina del Chisme Corner, we're talking about
Neil fucking Gaiman.
Yeah.
What?
If you remember when this podcast started, Rachey loved that man. She was praising that man because that was one of her heroes, right? Well, Rachey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Did I? Listen, the long and the short of it is that a super right-wing podcast had on two guests that came forward with allegations of sexual harassment and abuse from the one and only Neil Gaiman, someone who has supposedly been a champion for women's rights and equality for everyone, who people loved because he was humble and would speak with his fans in a really kind and generous way. He was constantly rooting on other authors, just a true gem and because of that, a lot of us, we put faith in him as a good guy because for whatever reason, we keep holding out hope that they don't all fucking suck. And lo and behold, this information comes forward. And a lot of us, I will say, myself included, when I first read it, said, well, maybe let's just wait to hear what Neil Gaiman has to say about this. Maybe because of the source, we were less willing to accept it. But I do have a strong sense that we believe women until evidence comes forward that the allegations are not true. Because as somebody who has been in that situation before where I didn't come forward because I didn't think that I would be believed, because that's generally what happens, I don't ever want to contribute to creating that environment for somebody who might be a victim, right? But I still, along with many of us, were like, let's wait. And then that man opened his own fucking mouth. And he straight up was like, this is so wrong. Yes, she was a 21-year-old or a 20-year-old that we hired as a nanny. And within 3 hours of her working for us and living with us as a live-in nanny, I did walk into her bathroom naked and get into her bathtub and then proceeded to have a 3-week-long sexual relationship with her. But don't worry, it was consensual. Oh, yes, no, I was 61, but it was consensual. Oh, yes, I was her employer, but it was consensual. I'm sorry. What? I'm all for an age gap in certain fantasy novels. I'm okay with it when the girl is old enough to drink. Should we not have a whole conversation about what consent means? Because on top of that, the allegations included him wanting to have these very strong, kink-heavy impact play BDSM type relationships. And these women had not consented to that. They consented to being in a relationship with him. But being in a relationship with somebody doesn't give you full and unfettered access to their bodies. And in the kink community, something that Susie and I are very passionate about, consent is so important. It's not something that you get under duress. It's not something that you get when you haven't given all of the information. Consent has to be fully informed, very enthusiastic, and constant.
And very
You must ask for it. Yes. And you have to be clear about what you're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, do you want to have sex with me? And they say yes. And then you pull out handcuffs and a ball gag. I'm not saying that that's exactly what happened in his situation, but that doesn't, no, they might not be into that. You have to have those conversations.
You also don't know people's traumas and things. Like, you have no idea.
Exactly. And then the fact is, the second victim that came forward was 18 when he met her at, I think, a book signing or conventions or something. She was a fan. And then he started having a relationship with her when he was 20. She was 20. And on top of that, with the lady that he had hired to be a live-in nanny, part of his whole, oh, it was consensual, blah, 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 is he turned around and said, well, she has a mental illness that
Oh, yeah.
causes her to create false memories. Bitch, what?
Wrong. For however you see it, wrong. Like, no. And we have
No.
to we have to take into consideration the fact that there are power dynamics. Like, she was the nanny, he was the boss. One. Two, with the other girlie, she was a fan. He is like, the person that she admires. So in those
She
power
idolizes him, yeah.
dynamics, yeah, in those power dynamics, you're gonna have the upper hand. And if you're not a responsible human being, he's not. Uh, this is what happens. You can think it's consensual, but it's not. That's why you have to be
Yeah,
very clear.
and the truth is, and a lot of people that want to stick up for I will say anybody, because I do know that there are probably women out there who also take advantage of the power imbalance in certain relationships, but specifically men in this situation. People want to defend them and say, well, she's 20 and she's an adult and she had the ability to say no. She could say yes, whatever. She's an adult. With great power comes great responsibility. And I know that that comes from a comic book, but it means so much. You have a responsibility to wield your power ethically. And he did not do that. Even by his own admission, he straight up pointed out that he does not fully understand or care about full, consistent, enthusiastic consent. And it pisses me the fuck off.
That was it for Chisme Corner. If you have any opinions about this, let us know because we want to know the tea that you have in your head. Now, on a more lighter slash consensual note, we're going to talk about this Butcher and Blackbird by Bryne Weaver. We've been talking about this for forever, and now is the moment. Rachey, I know you loved it.
I did.
I loved it. I read it before her. Actually, I like this episode because she listened to it and I read it. And I think that is interesting because you have a perspective that I will not.
Now that you know what book we're talking about, it's time for Quick and Dirty, where I try to explain the plot of this book in 60 seconds or less. And go. Butcher and Blackbird is a love story about two serial killers who fall in love over the course of 5-ish years, I think, in which they come together annually to have a competition to see who can kill a predetermined target first. This is your classic he falls first, friends to lovers, golden retriever boyfriend, black cat girlfriend story that you've all seen, except with disembodied eyeballs, corpse desecration, and ice cream made with semen. Yum! Just your typical romance. He's a chef and she's an accountant or a consultant. We're not really sure. I just know it's very corporate-y, okay? And he's Irish, so I think that speaks for itself. Basically, it's hilarious, it's disgusting, it's hot, and
Very. So let's talk about the characters because they're interesting.
so Sloane is a scientist accountant, apparently. Not sure what her job is, but it's not important because
If you remember,
more
let us know
important,
because we're really
please
lost.
do reach out.
You know?
I would love to know.
Wait. Oh, she's a data scientist.
A data scientist. That
That
makes
makes
sense.
total sense. Now that makes sense. A scientist? No.
See,
Okay.
I was thinking like goggles, lab coat,
Yeah. No.
chemicals when they say scientist. We got it. See, Sloane is a data scientist, but nobody cares about that because more than a data scientist, Sloane is a serial killer known as the Orb Weaver. Amazing. Yeah. She's being hunted down by the FBI, but the FBI are fucking idiots, apparently. She's leaving clues. She has very intricate, detailed, well thought out crime scenes, okay? This woman has 3D maps made out of string hung all over the place with body parts just like intertwined. She pulls out their eyes and it's kind of super gross, but she's also very meticulous and very clean, and apparently just nobody can catch her, right? Insanity. She can't
It's
cook, I know that much. And I'm trying to remember other things about her. She has a best friend named Lark, and her best friend and her went to art school together. Her best friend got sexually assaulted by a teacher there, and that was the first person she ever killed. And then she became a serial killer after that. Mhm.
okay for Rowan. Honestly, like 100% honest with you, thinking about this book, he's a pretty boring guy. Besides him being a serial killer and having a restaurant, he's pretty boring. Like, what makes him to me phenomenal is that he is Irish. The thing that he has like going on for him is he has a restaurant, kind of famous. He does have money, for what I understand and what they like implied in the book, and he's a serial killer. But besides that, honestly, pretty boring guy, pretty regular. I mean, being a serial killer is not regular, but pretty regular person. If you don't know that he does that, he has two brothers, hot, all three of them, hot, hot, hot. What else?
What else about Rowan?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
Like, there's
mean,
not much to say.
listen, this man is, oh, you can say he's not afraid of using toys in the bedroom. He's not intimidated by that. That's
Oh,
good.
we do know that he
Um,
loves piercings in very strange parts of the body of his partner. He's very excited
he's
about.
a very,
He's
very,
very
very
excited about that.
happy.
He's also very enthusiastic about toys in the bedroom. So we love a man that is confident like that. What
Hmm.
else? I mean, he's hot.
Um,
Honestly, he's hot, but
Dude, wait, he's also super, here's the thing, he's also super caring and sweet. There's a part in the book where he starts like having food sent to her house, and
yeah.
like stalker creepy calls her and is like watching her through the window basically. And then he like walks her through how to make a dish, because he knows that like she doesn't know how to cook or anything. And it was, like, the sweetest thing, and he, like, never let her know that he was, like, standing outside her house or anything, and he like, it was just
I
super
mean,
adorable.
he's a serial killer. He will definitely not show himself. Like if he wanted to, she would have noticed, but he didn't. So
I know, I was expecting him to be like, "It's me, I'm here, let's fuck now," and he never did, and because so for the longest time, they were just friends. Like, there
yeah.
was no he was like, listen, I love it so much. It's on the background of my phone. I'm not even kidding you. She says to him all the time, "You're the worst." And he responds with, "You'll love me someday." And it's just this adorable, like, he's so good to her. He's so protective of her. And she's like, "Thanks, friend." And he's like, "I'll wait. That's fine.
Friend
I'm
zone.
fine." And he was fine with it. And that's what's important, men. Take that away from this story, is that you don't always just get to be out of the friend zone. Sometimes the only way you get out of the friend zone is by being okay, being in the friend zone.
He, as any man that we read about, is kind of like grayish. Like a, I mean, he only kills bad people. So I don't know if I would put
He
him on the
was killing drug
gray.
dealers. He was killing
Yeah.
drug dealers, I do believe was what it was. Uh,
I don't know if actually I would put him in like dark romance because just him. Just because
mm,
it's not, it's not morally gray nor black. He's just actually
mhm.
a good human, cleaning the earth. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Lark and him, they both are cleaning the earth. But yeah, I don't feel like he is like Zake Meadows or I don't know who else. Um,
I mean, Zayd did the same thing. He only killed human traffickers, and then he built this whole compound to let
but
the
Zayd,
victims live
but
in.
he has this dark vibe. Rowan is a fucking
Oh,
puppy.
he is a golden retriever boyfriend through and through.
He is the
I'm shocked.
cutest.
I'm shocked to say that this book was the very first time I ever read a he falls first
Mm,
or a golden retriever boyfriend trope in my
mm.
life. I've always read like dark and broody enemies to lovers, kind of intense relationships. And
Mm-hmm.
this was it was so for a while after this, I was like, I just want a man to obsess over me. like, like, what's that
Absolutely.
like? Susie, what did you love about the book?
The beginning of the book,
Like the
to
trigger
me,
warnings?
no. The you know that when
Oh,
we start
mhm.
reading, she
Yeah.
is kind of like hunting someone. She gets to the house, and this person locks her in a cage, and then she's like, I don't know. I think it was fascinating how we knew from the beginning that it's going to be a disgusting book, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
great.
it starts she's been in the cage for 3 days and she's looking
Yeah,
at maggots crawling out of this guy and like, "Those look like french fries." Was it french fries? Or something
I
like
think
that?
so. But it's
So
like
gross.
no, was it French fries? No, it was
I
the
think
little
was it beans?
it was
Rice?
pasta.
Couscous?
The pasta that is like that. I think it was.
Orzo pasta?
I think it was Orso. Yes. I loved how the book started. That's like the first thing that I can tell you that I loved from the beginning because I was
Mhm.
like, this is a way to actually start a story. Because if this is crazy, what's coming, it's way better than just this. And this is great already.
Yeah.
Definitely that part. All of the killing and the blood and the explanations, I think they were great uh, in the way of how the author was very detailed on
Mhm.
explaining what was happening. Didn't
Yeah.
love a lot of those just because blood is like not a thing that I enjoy, but in because I see a movie when I read, so I was like, most of the time with those scenes, but loved how detailed it was. And if I have to choose a second like favorite moment, when they did it. When they
Oh,
did it.
okay.
Because we have to wait.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn, okay?
Oh, yeah, chapter 16 is
Mm-hmm.
when stuff goes down. You go a
Yeah.
whole 16 chapters. That's a lot for us.
But it was freaking worth it. And yes, we were asking ourselves when it's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen. But you also were very entertained.
I absolutely loved conceptually in the book, and, like, not pointing to a specific part of the book, I loved with all of my heart the way that he just from the very beginning was like jaw drop enamored with her because I'd never read anything like that before, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing." Like, I loved it. I loved the way he was patient, the way that he kind of played with her. You know, when there's a part when they're at the first hotel during the first game and she starts reading a book and he's like, "What are you reading?" And she's like, and he goes, is that a porn book?" And she's
As
like,
much.
it's like and it was like dragon porn or something, and it was hilarious, and then he took it and he read it because he was just like, "Yeah, I wanna know what you're reading," and he didn't mind at all. I thought it was super cute that, they poked fun at each other. That whole dynamic they had was one of my favorite things in the book.
Oh, the banter.
The
Phenomenal.
banter was perfect, and that's the thing is, because I listened to it on audiobook and the chemistry between the 2 narrators was so good, because they recorded it live together, in studio. So it was so like, the timing was so good and the chemistry was so great that you're just like you got, like, the giddy feeling too whenever, like, they would say something and you're like, "Oh my god," like, they were saying it to you and but, like, as far as, like, the moment that I was like, "Oh my god," it was definitely just before they fucked, when she's sitting on the couch and she had been badly injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember exactly what happens, but she's sitting on the couch and he goes to walk away. They're at his brother's house, and his brother's a doctor. And I can't remember if she says something under her breath or what, but he comes back and he puts his hand around her throat and he just like gets real serious, like this happy go lucky, funny, hilarious golden retriever boyfriend type out of nowhere just comes up and threatens her and just like I was like it was one of those moments where you're like, "Oh my god."
You have to stop
Uh,
everything.
Like you stop and it's that Simpsons meme where it's like, haha, I'm in danger. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, yes, sir. And you're just, oh my God. I was like, all right.
Love
And
that.
then
We
just
love
all of
that.
chapter 17. Oh, and then when he gets her drawing of the bird, of the raven,
Yes.
tattooed on his back. What?
It's like I have you forever in my body.
I'm just
What was the thing that you disliked the most about the story?
fucking in the kitchen, because that goes against every health department health code out there. I don't want to eat at that restaurant. You fucked in the kitchen on top of where you make the food.
Mhm.
I've worked in restaurants. You don't want to fuck there. That's gross.
For both parties, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I thought you were talking about like their kitchen. I was like, what do you mean? It's great.
No,
But you talk
the
about their restaurant.
restaurant
Yeah.
kitchen.
Yeah. Not
And
great.
that's just dumb. That's a dumb
Anything
thing to get
else?
angry about. You know, no, I liked the pacing of the book. I know I wouldn't say it's plot light. It's more like plot medium.
Mhm.
There's not too much of a plot, and it only starts to build, and then continues to build through the second book. But I liked the balance between the plot and the smut, and I loved the banter. There wasn't a whole lot that I disliked about the book at all.
I think like what comes to my mind first when I think about what I didn't like was the arc of him leaving, like he was mad or something, or they had a fight and he went to
Oh,
the
they got in a
restaurant and the
fight.
guy, yeah, and the guy like, tried to kill him or whatever. To me, that was like, I mean, I get that we need like a high point, like a climax, right, on the book and whatever. But I think we
Mhm,
had it around the story. Like, while you were reading, there were many climaxes, and I don't think that
mhm.
was necessary.
Yeah. You know what? Now that you say that, I do remember because it has been a minute since I read this or listened to it.
Hmm.
But yeah, there was that miscommunication trope that happens, and
Yeah, and I'm not a
I hate a
huge fan.
miscommunication. I think another person on Threads pointed out that people hate miscommunication tropes because it's so realistic. Because we're all so bad at communicating, and I'm like, I'm not
Mm.
saying you're wrong, but I still hate it.
I mean, you
So,
don't read for realism. You read because you want to escape. I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
right?
So
Right. You have to find that balance between realistic enough that it doesn't pull you out of the story
hmm
with something you're like, that's ridiculous. That would never happen. Like
hmm
it can't pull you out of the story, but also can it not just be such a reminder of all of our flaws?
we didn't need that arc in the book. It was good, but unnecessary in my opinion.
We're gonna do review now, okay? I'm here on Goodreads and I'm looking at the overall reviews. Overall, Goodreads readers have given this a 4.11 star rating, with most of the stars being either 5 or 4 stars.
The 4.1 on Goodreads, it's a high rating.
Yeah,
People on Goodreads are cutthroat. Like
brutal.
they will,
People are
yeah.
brutal. It's just so one of the 5 stars is just I love these two psychopaths in all caps with crying emojis, and that's all. Heather McClary writes, iconic, amazing, out of this world, incredible. I could go on and on. The most perfect dark rom-com. I have really enjoyed the other books I've read by Bryne Weaver, but she really outdid herself with this one. When I read the trigger warning, I was only mildly concerned, mostly because I genuinely thought one of the main characters was going to be a cannibal, and I can happily say, don't worry, because that is not at all the case. Right? The not so accidental cannibalism was actually a very funny addition to the book. Rowan, the MMC, had a lot to live up to with a name like that, and I can fully say that he did. His witty nature and overall character was happy cry emoji, heart emoji, happy cry emoji, heart emoji. My man was obsessed. And Sloane, I loved that she was a bad bitch, but also had normal people anxiety. Ha 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 ha. Listen, part of me wants to just cover 1-star reviews of the books that we love because these are fucking hilarious.
I'm ready.
1 star by Kat. It took far longer than I'd like to admit to realize that this book was going nowhere near my favorites list, a fact I'll credit solely to the wonderful audio performance from Joe Arden and Lucy Rivers. I'm telling you, they're amazing. A shock, as I'm sure you can imagine, since it's literally about serial killers who play a murder game together and fall in love along the way. But it finally hit me around the 3/4 mark that I'd rather get my eyeballs plucked, nay, gouged out, than continue to be subjected to Butcher and Blackbird's unconvincing chemistry, shallow characters, and disjointed timeline. Dissatisfying as a romance and horror novel alike. R.I.P. my hopes and dreams of ever finding a good crossover between the two genres. And I can see where she's coming from. It's a bit crazy that this takes place over 4/5 years, and they're only communicating via text every so often.
I understand. Because, again, it was 5 years. We actually didn't get to know each other. We were only text. I mean, it was a bit unrealistic in that way. I kind of agree, but it was a great book.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Rachey, what would you rate this book, and would you recommend this book?
4 stars, maybe 4.5, and that's specifically the audiobook, because, as I've said before, Lucy Rivers is one of my favorite audiobook narrators now. She has captivated my heart, and the chemistry was so good. It really takes you and makes you want to keep listening. So even for people who didn't like the book, they gave it 1 star, they got 3/4 of the way through before they realized they didn't like it because the audio narration was so good. And yeah, I would absolutely recommend it.
I would rate it 4 stars, and I'm being generous, but I will give it 4 stars because I actually laughed and it was funny and it was fun. It was a fun book. I would not recommend it to someone that is like very sensitive because there's a lot of descriptive blood and body parts scenes, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. Okay, sinners, that's it. We're gonna see you next week with Lucy Rivers. She's gonna be here. Rachey made that happen, so please to Rachey because she did that. You're gonna love that episode. Also, if you want to be a voice actor, she's gonna give us a few tips. So just letting you know.
Remember, little sinners, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Our handle is @ComeWithUsPod, and you can go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify to rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps us grow our little community, and it's greatly appreciated.
We love you. Tell us over there why you like this episode, if you like the book. We want to know everything because it was a fun book. So we want to know if you liked it or if you're like Kat and you just 1 star and that's it. Sinners, you've been good little angels. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, and listen, and remember, stay wicked, stay wild, and keep reading. We love you. Bye.
Bye.